If you're holding XRP, what I'm about to reveal is going to blow your mind. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager with over $10 trillion under management, is reportedly preparing to file for an XRP ETF, and approval odds just skyrocketed to 80%. We're talking about the same BlackRock that absolutely dominated the Bitcoin ETF space and is now eyeing our beloved XRP. Make sure to watch this video entirely until the end, because what's happening right now could trigger the most explosive institutional adoption wave in XRP's entire history. What's up, my XRP warriors? It's your boy Goldrush here at Goldrush Crypto Daily, and I am literally shaking with excitement right now. We've got two absolutely mind-blowing stories that just dropped, and if you thought the lawsuit ending was huge, wait until you hear what BlackRock is planning. This is going to be the most game-changing breakdown of why XRP is about to enter a completely different league. Let's dive straight into this absolutely earth-shattering article from 36 Crypto that has the entire XRP community going ballistic. According to this report, the XRP community was set alight today after comments from market analyst Nate Geraci fueled speculation about a potential BlackRock-backed XRP exchange-traded fund. Geraci, who's the president of ETF Store, dropped an absolute bombshell when he said BlackRock might have been waiting for recent developments before proceeding with an iShares XRP ETF. Now listen to this. He argued it makes zero sense for BlackRock to focus only on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Mark my words, when Nate Geraci speaks about ETFs, the entire market listens. His comments have raised anticipation that XRP would shortly appear on the list of institutional crypto products. But here's what makes this absolutely incredible. The timing couldn't be more perfect. The anticipation follows the official resolution of that long-standing legal battle between Ripple Labs and the Securities and Exchange Commission. This eliminates one of the most significant regulatory uncertainties that has been hanging over XRP since 2020. As you can see from this filing data, the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit affirmed that the SEC has withdrawn its appeal and Ripple has dropped its cross-appeal. The two parties consented to pay their own costs regarding legal proceedings. This is huge, folks. According to Ripple Chief Legal Officer Stuart Alderety, the ruling was reached after a commission vote earlier in the day. He said the company is now willing to concentrate on business expansion. Can you imagine the possibilities when Ripple can focus entirely on growing their business instead of fighting legal battles? Now let me break down why this legal victory absolutely supercharges the ETF speculation. The case began back in 2020 when the SEC accused Ripple of selling XRP as an unregistered security. In July 2023, Judge Annalisa Torres found that sales of XRP on public exchanges were not securities transactions, but that institutional sales had been securities violations. Ripple ended up paying a fine of $125 million compared to the $2 billion that the SEC initially wanted. After several months of settlement negotiations, they finally reached the joint decision to terminate the appeals altogether. For analysts like Geraci, this resolution's timing could be the exact signal BlackRock was waiting for. Without the legal overhang, XRP is now perfectly positioned as a regulated investment product. This is what institutional money has been waiting for. But wait, there's more. Let's jump into this absolutely explosive article from AMB Crypto that's got even more mind-blowing details. According to this report, XRP ETF approval odds just surged to 80% after the SEC Ripple legal settlement. Nate Geraci made a bold projection that BlackRock may apply for a spot XRP ETF, and he specifically said, "Yes, I think BlackRock was waiting to see this before filing for iShares XRP ETF." He went on to say that it would make zero sense for BlackRock not to explore beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. If BlackRock sticks to only Bitcoin and Ethereum, then it would mean that only those two assets have value. And we all know that's absolutely ridiculous. Look at this data here. As of press time, BlackRock had not applied for both XRP and Solana ETFs, making it the only potential issuer with Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF offerings that was yet to make that move. Last year, Samara Cohen, Chief Investment Officer at BlackRock, noted that institutional investors were only focused on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But times have changed dramatically. Xrp believes that BlackRock could file for Solana and XRP ETFs before the October approval deadline. Now, Bloomberg senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas thinks the firm may stick to the two top crypto assets, citing diminished returns beyond Ethereum. But honestly, I think he's underestimating the massive demand for XRP exposure in traditional portfolios. Here's the absolutely insane part. The approval odds for spot XRP ETF surged to nearly 80% after the SEC and Ripple Labs opted to end their appeals. The chances had actually dropped to 66% on August 7th following revelations of alleged blockage of crypto ETFs by Democrat SEC Commissioner Caroline Crenshaw. But Balchunas noted that the commissioner was outnumbered and could not prevent the products from going live, maintaining 95% approval odds. He said, "She's outnumbered equals we haven't changed our odds, still at 95%. Now let's talk about what's happening in the markets, because this is where it gets really interesting. Over 6 billion XRP has been offloaded in the past few days, flipping whale demand to negative. While this was a threat to the $3 support, the latest update on the dismissal of the SEC and Ripple appeals triggered an 11% upswing to $3.30. However, options traders are still heavily hedging against further downside risks despite the relief rally. According to Levita's data, there's a premium for short-dated put options, which are bearish bets. The 25 delta skew turned negative across 1 day, 1 week, and 3-month tenors, illustrating some weakening sentiment. But here's what's absolutely massive. Traders bought over 1.8 billion XRP at each of the $2.70 to $2.80 zones, and the $2.40 to $2.50 zones. These levels are now reinforced as key support areas. Let me tell you why this BlackRock ETF development is absolutely game-changing for XRP. When BlackRock filed for their Bitcoin ETF, we saw the most explosive institutional adoption wave in Bitcoin's history. Now imagine that same level of institutional firepower backing XRP. We're talking about pension funds, hedge funds, family offices, and retail investors through their brokerage accounts all getting direct exposure to XRP. The demand surge would be absolutely astronomical. And here's the kicker. XRP's utility in cross-border payments and its partnerships with major financial institutions make it the perfect institutional play. While Bitcoin is digital gold and Ethereum is the smart contract platform, XRP is the bridge currency that's already being used by banks and financial institutions worldwide. Look, if BlackRock files for an XRP ETF and we get approval, the supply shock could send XRP to levels we haven't seen since the last bull run. Remember, there's a finite supply of XRP, and when institutional money starts flowing in through ETFs, the price discovery is going to be incredible. The fact that approval odds hit 80% shows that market participants are taking this seriously. This isn't just speculation anymore. This is institutional preparation for what could be the biggest catalyst in XRP's history. And let me remind you, we're still in the early stages of crypto ETF adoption. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs were just the beginning. XRP, with its clear regulatory status and massive utility, is the next logical step for institutional products. I genuinely believe we're witnessing the setup for one of the most explosive runs in XRP's entire history. The legal clarity, the BlackRock speculation, the 80% approval odds, everything is aligning perfectly. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, smash that subscribe button right now because we're going to be covering every single development in this space. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates on this BlackRock ETF situation. What do you think about these BlackRock ETF rumors? Are you as pumped as I am about the possibilities? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear where you think XRP is heading once institutional money starts flowing in. Share this video with every XRP holder you know because this information could be absolutely life-changing. The next few months could determine XRP's trajectory for years to come. Until next time, this is Goldrush saying keep accumulating, keep believing, and remember, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research. XRP Army, let's go.